Hey guys, it's Miss Caphart, and we're going to go through the biotechnology notes. So you should have your worksheet that you got from me, and we're going to go through and fill it in. So this was just a nice way to start off biotechnology, but if you look at it, you can see that the vegetables are talking. So that's going to kind of lead us into what biotechnology is. So biotechnology, if we were to break it down, bio means life, and then technology, I want you to think about everything we've used in terms of technology, but applying scientific knowledge for a practical purpose. So putting the two together, we're going to get a definition of manipulating living things to produce useful products. Okay. So in North Carolina, some pros to biotechnology, some things that are good with biotechnology. They can make crops grow bigger. All right. So if you're thinking in terms of food consumption, a larger, growing bigger, that's definitely, a big thing. We can increase the crop yield. So not only is maybe the corn bigger, but now instead of getting 4 ears of corn on one plant, we're getting 6 ears of corn. So that's good for North Carolina farmers because they're going to make money. It's also good for us because there's more product, more food out there. So these are some pros that come with manipulating the genes to make it happen. All right. Other examples, we can make trees. Think about all the plants that um, have some kind of fungus or a bug or some kind of disease that kills it. We can do things to the genes to make it so that they are resistant to it, which that's good. That means the trees aren't going to die, especially if we have very important trees, hardwoods and things like that that would be used for other purposes that we would need. And this could help save forests. And think about people, lumberjacks. They don't have to worry about, you know, trees being killed off because of some kind of disease, so they can go about doing their job. Um, Less that is being eaten by an insect. So if we develop a plant, like maybe like we have corn, you can see it like this. The insects may not find it something to eat. Okay, so not only do we have to worry about disease, but we also have to worry about, just bugs in general eating plants. And so if we can tweak a gene, it might make the corn plant taste funny to Mr. Bug, and Mr. Bug's like, I don't want that anymore. It doesn't taste good. So that's also an advantage. So that means that leaves us with this corn that this bug isn't going to eat. And so we get this big yield of crop. Okay. Maybe potentially better tasting fruits and vegetables. That is something that you can do by manipulating the gene. And if you can't see the cartoon, it says, you must be one of them weirdo GM apple banana app bananas. And the other one next to it says, hey, at least I don't have eyes and a mouth and can talk. Oh, yeah. So biotechnology. It's not quite to that extent, but it is, we have manipulated and spliced, put together certain foods, so like there's broccoli and cauliflower, have been mixed together, broccaflower. Um, so potentially could lead to better tasting things. Now the cons, okay? Genetically modified crops they may potentially throw a risk at other things, other natural plants. So there could be a risk where we put this crop that we've messed with in the laboratory and we put it into the woods or put it in the fields or whatever, it may have an effect on the soil. It might have an effect just by proximity, give off something that the natural plants in that area don't like, and they may die. So that's a problem. Is it completely safe? Unknown problems we haven't predicted. I mean, there could be things that we don't know about because you're not really testing it, so to speak. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to turn into a big green monster by eating this genetically modified crop, but we don't know, you know. Is it morally right? Should we be messing genetically with these things, or should we just let nature take its course? And I'm going to tell you right now, the whole ethical part of this is going to be something that's going to keep coming back up, because should we be messing with genes? That's the question when we get to biotechnology. Okay. So medicine in North Carolina, so now we're moving to the next thing. So pros, okay, biotechnology can give us new treatments and medicines, okay? So things like diabetes, people with diabetes, insulin can be made from, I believe it's cows, utilizing cows or pig, I think it's pigs to create this insulin. So, using what we have, manipulating their genes to make this artificial type treatment. And who knows the countless other treatments and medicines that can come about. So diabetic came from organs of cows and pigs. I was right. But now, so it used to, but now it's coming from genetically modified bacteria, you know? And think of potential other things that can come from this stuff. Could get a lot of jobs. So if you're interested in the medical field, here you go. I mean, it's a ton of jobs, ton of research, ton of interesting things learned. Definitely going to create those jobs. However, the risk, you know, so you start to develop um, when we use things like hand sanitizers or antimicrobial solutions, remember it only kills 99% of the germs. And so there's that awkward 1%. What do you do? What happens to that awkward 1%? Well, you have to be careful um, because that awkward 1%, this 1%, they're immune. So these are like super duper germs and they're not dying. Okay, so a big con is this development of these antibiotic resistant bacteria. That's huge. This right here, that's huge. That means you could have potentially bacteria in you. You could be sick, go to the hospital, they give you an antibiotic and it doesn't work. And you could die from a bacterial infection. One that maybe 10 years ago was easily treated, but now because these bacteria have been given the opportunity to develop this resistance, they're like super duper strong. Okay. Second, is it right? Is it moral for us to be manipulating things in this manner? You know, it's a question. It's going to come up in all the cons. So something to think about with these resistance. So when you wash, like when you do things, here is resistance to antibacterial soap. Okay. So the first generation, we have one, none. Okay. There's a few that can survive. So we have that 96 and 0.04. Okay. All right. So now let's take this further. So the first generation, we got none alive. Second generation, we have 0.04 alive. Third generation, we have 0.24. So they're getting stronger and stronger. Their children are getting stronger. They're surviving more. We can see where this is eventually going to be a big number. Okay, so we keep taking it out. Look at what happens. You know, we get to a point where now most of the bacteria are surviving and most of the weak have been destroyed. So like this scenario is not a good scenario. Okay, so just always be cognizant of that. When you use hand sanitizers, Lysol wipes, I'm not trying to knock that, but those type of things, any of that, Clorox, anything that says that it's that 99.9%, be careful. You know, traditional regular soap and water, warm water, 30 seconds, happy birthday to you, sing it to yourself, say your name, whatever, ABCs, one, two, threes, whatever. If you can hold that kind of stuff, you're going to better fight against germs than going to the hand sanitizer and constantly use it. Okay. All right, so now we need to talk about biotechnology in terms of where the controversy or the conversations can be. All right, so the first topic is biotechnology and genetics. So using this technology for cloning, okay? And cloning is literally taking an organism and making a duplicate of it. Now, understand when I make a duplicate of it, um, it's not like here's this full-grown sheep and I put it in some magic microwave and bam, here comes another full-grown sheep. This full-grown sheep that you see in this picture that I have circled, if I were to clone it, I'm going to have a copy of it. It's going to look just like that sheep, but it's going to start like a baby. So it goes all the way down to the baby grows up, and when it grows up, it's going to be just like that. Can and should we design babies that are free of certain disease genes? Think about it. Should we? In some regards, some people might state it as playing God. You're messing with things that you shouldn't be. So that's an argument. Okay. A second one is waste and pollution cleanup. How can it be used? Well, genetically engineered bacteria can be created or are being created to reduce the waste, nuclear waste, sewage, that kind of stuff. They're here, they're eating the leftovers. Again, thinking about, should we do that? Is that a reason to do it? Biotechnology and CSI. So can we use it to identify criminals? Yes, we can. DNA that's left at a crime scene. It could be blood. It could be hair follicles. Um, it could be a sperm or other types of secretions. They have DNA in it. And that is what has gotten criminals charged, and even people who maybe have been charged set free because they have been determined they were good to go. So in this discussion, I want you to think about and keep that mindset of the good and the bad, and understand that there's good to biotechnology, but there is scary stuff with biotechnology. Underneath your worksheet, there are 7 questions that you need to be answering on your own paper. Okay. Once you've completed that, I want you to turn to the back side of the worksheet, and you're going to come up with an argument of your own. Now, understand, I am grading you on I want detail. I want specifics. I want you to hit certain points. Don't be vague. Be specific. Because if you're arguing a point, you need to have a very valid point present in your write-up. If you need more room than this, attach a piece of paper. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. And hopefully we're thinking. Get those thinking caps on and thinking about biotechnology.